Hey God, I come to you this moment thanking you for everything that you've given me, and with a thankful heart and an open heart, ready to listen to Emma as she brings your word and talks about her mission trip and everything that you did through her while she was in the Dominican, and everything that you're continuing to do her and through us. In your name I pray, amen.
Hey, hey, hey. All right, everybody say, hey, Emma. All right, yeah, wave, don't be awkward. Okay, so Emma went to the Dominican Republic, and she's going to come tell y'all about kind of what she did there and what that looked like for her. She's got some pictures we're going to show you on a little slide, and then she's going to talk for a bit. And if y'all will, just listen up and y'all be respectful, please. All right, y'all welcome her, by the way.
Okay, yeah, so like Bradley said, I spent 6 weeks of my summer in the Dominican Republic on a mission trip. And every day I was there, I took like a short 1 to 3 second video of what we were doing that day, and then I kind of put them all together in like a little video on the plane ride home. So yeah, and that's what we're going to show if we can get it to come up. But yeah. Did all of y'all start back school today? Wait, yesterday? Yes. Is y'all school as strict about dress code as mine? It sucks, booty hole. It does. We got to wear tights and t-shirts last year, and now we have to wear a uniform. But okay, we're good. Okay. So yeah, so it was only like 2 minutes long, but that's just a short little summary of our whole trip. So, whenever I left for the Dominican Republic, I really didn't know what to expect because one, I'd only been on mission trips before for like a week long, and I was going for like 5 more weeks than I'd ever been before. And so, going into it, I didn't really have a whole lot of knowledge, and I had like a ton of emotions too. I was excited because I was going to do something new, but then I was also really nervous because I was doing something new, and also I was sad because I was leaving my friends and my family, but I was also really happy because I was getting to see all the people that I missed. So it's just a whole lot of stuff going on, and I was just really excited though to get to go and share the gospel. And when I got there, my trip was far from what I expected, but I wouldn't change a single day of it except for like when we got the stomach bug because that was pretty bad. But the trip has brought me countless of new friends, and people I call family now, and a heart overflowing with love, and an experience I won't ever forget. Actually, talking about experiences, one of my favorite experiences from the trip was one where I truly felt the Lord's presence in it, and it was just like an overwhelming moment. And so I promised myself I wasn't going to cry, so I apologize, y'all, if I do. But one night we were going to youth club, and I'll explain a little bit later about what youth club was. Javier walked up to me, and he's one of the helpers in the Dominican. He translates for Miss Courtney and Jay and them, and I guess I should give y'all a little bit of background on who I was with. Anyway, pause. Okay, so I was down there with the family, and it's their last name is the Nelsons. Y'all probably heard of them before. They're pretty popular. But Courtney and Jay went down there, and they founded a church and all that kind of stuff. And they have a daughter named Caroline and a son named Jude. And they have a little baby named Junior that they kind of adopted, but not really. He was like left on their door. And so he's 2. And then they have Janie and Nico and Joey. And they have all been there for over a year, and they're just kind of like helpers and stuff. Anyway, and then Javier and then a few other people help them out too. So Javier walked up to me, and he was like, "Hey, go talk to that girl." And I was like, no, I don't speak Spanish. Like, I'm not going to do very well at this. And he was like, "I promise you, the Lord is telling me for you to go talk to that girl." So after some convincing, I went over there and talked to her. And she actually spoke about as much English as I did Spanish, which was really cool because she was in the process of learning English because her dad went to school for it. And so it was really cool because I could just feel the language barrier being broken down. And I could talk to her in English, and she'd respond to me in Spanish, and I'd understand what she said. And it was a really cool moment, and I got to build a relationship with her and invite her back to church that week for like Sunday night, and then again on Thursday night for youth club. And it's just a sweet moment to get to build a relationship and get to really know her and all. And whenever I was going to leave and tell her, it broke my heart because she started tearing up because she told me that I was one of her favorite people and that I was one of her new best friends and that she wanted to see me again. And I just didn't know when I was going to be coming back. And so it really hurt my heart to have to leave her. But, so as I told y'all a few minutes ago, there's a lot of people living there. And there's also some other summer interns too. So there was 6 of us living in an apartment together. And homegirl is an only child, so I don't live with anybody except for my parents. So that was really hard to get along with everybody and like share food and all. And that was probably my least favorite part of the trip, was getting to not necessarily know anybody, but know like routines of people, being like, oh, okay, I have to take a shower last because Janie likes to take a shower at this time, you know. And we had a lot of struggles with our roommates, but we also grew really close together. And it was a great experience to get to live with people. I mean, it readied me for college a little bit, hopefully. And I really got to grow closer with everybody and get to know them better. And even like the other 5 of them that were down there. No, 4. Sorry, y'all. My mind's blank. They live in Meridian. And so I'll get to hang out with them still and all. But there was a lot of stuff that didn't go as planned, you know. Like I said, we had roommate problems. We got locked out of cars and apartments quite a lot because there's only 1 set of keys and 6 of us. And then we had lots of car and bike troubles. Cars and bikes did not want to start, so that set a day back to our mission stuff that we were going to be doing. And we also got sick a good bit. So yeah. But God was there with us in it all. And that's something I really learned on this trip, was even in like our weakest moments, God was there with us. And whenever we go on this trip or on a mission trip, you know, you go with the expectancy, or you go expecting that you're going to witness to other people and that you're going to be the one. But really, it's those people that bless you. And while I grew in my faith tremendously on the trip, I had to learn to like fully put my trust in God to get me through the hard times where I was like, today's just not working because we got locked out, our cars won't start, I don't play baseball, like this just isn't going to work. And I had to learn to fully put my trust in God and really lean into Him and pray, and that He was going to use me in a way to glorify Him. And so I guess I can tell you a little bit about what our daily schedule was. So on Monday, we would normally do errands and all that kind of stuff, like go to WI and get groceries or anything like that. And then we'd go and do home visits. And if any of y'all don't know what a home visit is, it's where you'll go and you'll visit somebody at their home and you'll kind of tell them like a Bible story or a verse or something like that. And then pray with them and just kind of talk and chat with them. And so we'd go and do that a good bit. And then we also had team book club, and they were reading, the people who were living down there were reading When Helping Hurts, and it's a book about missionaries. And then we'd all get together and discuss it. Then on Tuesdays, Joey and Nico were over the baseball part, and so we'd go and help out with them on Tuesday mornings. And then we'd have kids club at night. And kids club is where it's kids from anywhere from 0 to like 12. They all come and we play games, we sing songs, have a Bible story, eat snacks, color page, a whole bunch of stuff. And so that was where I really felt usable at too, was at kids club, because I was one of the younger ones on the trip. So I got to hang around with all the kids and they really latched on to me and all. And then on Wednesday, we'd usually go and check up on people that we had to repeatedly go back and check up on. So there's a man down there named Adelio, and he had a big hole in his leg. He also had Parkinson's disease. So Miss Courtney would go by and give him medicine to put on his leg, and she'd doctor it up for him and make sure everything was healing right. And then we'd also, tell him a Bible story and make sure everything was going all right with their family. And then we do a women's Bible study in Comber Lane. Comber Lane is like a little neighborhood kind of type thing. And so we'd go down there, and Sidey, which is also one of the Nelson's helpers, started a Bible study with all the women down there. And so we'd go and participate and read the story along with them. And then we'd also, after we got done with that Bible study, have another Bible study with everybody in the neighborhood, where we'd play music and have Jay would teach like a little Bible study. Then on Thursday, Fabiola would come over and do pedicures and manicures and do our nails and stuff. And that's how she made her living. And so we really liked to help her out in that way, instead of just giving her money. And then we would also work on our Spanish with Fabiola. She was trying to learn English as we were trying to learn Spanish. So we kind of worked with each other, and we'd teach her English as she would do us Spanish. And then we'd also have youth club on Thursday nights. And so youth club was anywhere from 13 to up. And it was basically the same thing as youth club, kids club, but, a little more grown-up-y. So like middle school stuff, basically. And then Friday was usually our off day, so we could go on excursions and go out and see the country. We went to a few different beaches. We went to the Haitian border and a waterfall and some rivers and stuff, and just kind of hung out and chilled as we got ready for the rest of the week coming up. Saturday, we would usually go to the market in the morning and get fruit and veggies and anything else we really needed that was fresh. And then we'd go and do more home visits if we didn't get to them. And then also just kind of fix up the apartments, make sure everything was clean, dishes were getting washed, and all that kind of stuff. And then Sunday was very busy. We'd go and visit a church in the morning, and then at night we'd go to the church that Miss Courtney and them founded, which is Iglesia Baptista Sabineta. And we'd also have a little kids program like children's church. So I know that sounds like we had a really busy schedule, but most of the time most of the time we did do stuff, but there was a few of the times where like plans would fall through or it'd start raining. And when it rains, the power goes out for hours, so then you can't do anything. And then whenever it rains, Dominicans don't go anywhere, so there wouldn't be anybody to show up for stuff. So there's a lot of times where we were left to just kind of chill at the apartment and play guitars, learn guitar, play games, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of discouraged me at first because we weren't doing a lot of stuff all the time. But well, hang on, let me rephrase that. So most of the time whenever you go on mission trips, like I said earlier, it's go, go, go. Like you're nonstop doing stuff. At Infuge, you're all the time doing stuff. At Love Out Loud, most of the time you're doing stuff. And there'd be long periods of time where you were just kind of chilling at the apartment. But that's also as important as the time where you are doing stuff. The background work, like getting the apartments cleaned for teams to come. We had this huge apartment upstairs that was completely for storage, and it was a hot mess. And so we spent days organizing just that, so it was able to get into a pharmacy for people to get medicine out of, clothes that were donated, all kinds of stuff. That's just as important as going out and serving, because that stuff will be used to glorify God. And it kind of made once I realized that, it really made my feelings fade away, that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, because I wasn't doing anything down there. I came down there to serve, and I wasn't. But I actually was. I was serving Miss Courtney and everybody else down there. So, oh yeah. So when groups came, of course, our schedule changed just a little bit. And we had this team from Georgia come. They were an all-sports team. So we did 2 baseball camps and saw about 130 kids between the 2. And then we also did a basketball camp with them and saw about 30 girls with it. When a church from Meridian came, Love Now, we painted the church, Iglesia Bautista Sabineta, and we also visited the Haitian village, which we hadn't gone to yet. So that was basically our schedule and all. But it seemed like we did a lot, and I promise we did. But there was a few things I kind of realized while I was there that I hadn't really thought of before, or just going on the 1-week mission trips. So there's a few misconceptions about missions, and one of the first kind of misconceptions, sorry y'all, is that you aren't qualified to tell someone how to be saved. So in John 4:35, it says that, "Do not say that there is still 4 months, then comes the harvest. Listen to what I'm telling you. Open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ready for harvest." So basically, breaking that verse down, it's just kind of talking about harvesting plants. There's nothing really special to it, but it does have a meaning. So the plants are people, basically, and their spirits and that kind of jazz. And we plant the seeds of God in them, and then we have to go back and tend to them and make sure that they're following God, and that they're really understanding what He is and how He loves them and all that. And then God has to be the one to save them and go back in and reap the harvest. And so we have to be diligent in sharing the gospel and planting those seeds, because if we aren't going to go and make more disciples, and that's what we're called to do. And we have to plant the seeds wherever we are, whether we're in Meridian or in Hattiesburg or off at college or at our job or at school, because school just started back. God can use us in any way that we don't expect, and we have to be able to step out into faith to do that. Javier pushed me to step out into faith whenever he told me to go and talk to that girl, because I did not think anything was going to happen. I mean, homegirl does not speak Spanish, so I was very doubtful. But once he pushed me to go and do it, it actually turned out great, and God used me. Whenever God calls us, He will provide, and that's what He did in that situation. When I was also there's a lot of people that told me that, "Oh, you're just 17. Like, oh, you're just 17, you aren't doing that. Oh, you're just 17, don't do that." And it really kind of discouraged me, because just because I'm 17 doesn't mean I can't do stuff. I mean, I can ride a moto concho if I'm 17. So anyway, the roommates that I was with too even talked about, like, how youth shouldn't be allowed on mission trips, that all they want to do is go and take pictures, and they don't actually want to serve. And I actually got kind of upset about that, because I'm a youth still, and yes, I like taking pictures, but I also want to go and serve. And that was my main purpose for going down there, was serving. It wasn't for the pictures, even though I got really cute ones at junior, but it wasn't. And so age is just a number. Age doesn't hinder how we witness to people. And that's something I really struggled with too, is because I got super discouraged, because they were telling me, "You're just 17, you don't need to be doing this." But also, because of my age, I was able to minister to the kids in kids club and in youth club better than someone their age could, because I was closer in age to them. And the kids, kids like to play with kids. So I had tons of kids surround me at youth club. Like, I always had 3 girls latched onto me at all times. And 2 of them were named Pamela, so it got really confusing. But with the language gap and all, you just have to show love with people. And so a lot of times, we'd buy Franji's popcorn from him because we knew he couldn't go home unless he sold it all. Or we'd get Jose Luis or Jeffrey to clean our shoes. Or what else? Oh, we'd give the kids leftovers, like from our lunch, because they wouldn't have anything to eat. Or let's see. Oh, you'd buy a pair of Ray-Bans to give to a kid or Fay-Bans, they're fake. But they love taking selfies in them. And they love taking selfies on your phone or pictures with you and all, and playing with Snapchat filters. And this is kind of the way I fell in love with Pamela. Pamela is Griselda's daughter, and Griselda helps out with the church too. She's around 5 years old, and Pamela is very picky about who she hangs on to, who she hugs, who she loves, all that kind of stuff. And immediately when she saw me, she ran up to me and just latched on to me. Like, one night, she wouldn't let go of me so we could leave, so I just kind of got left in Comber Lane for like 5 minutes until she'd let go. And then they came back around and picked me up, but she still wouldn't let go. So I ended up giving her one of my bracelets, and even when I left, she still had it on. In youth club, or kids club, my bad, you could show the love of Christ by, they handed out little cross bracelets, and putting those on the kids, they loved for you to put them on, and that was showing the love of Christ, just taking the time and effort to do that. Or you can pass out snacks to the kids and sit there and eat with them, help them color their coloring page, or go and play games with them, sing and dance with them, It's just a really cool way to share the love of God. And so that kind of leads me to my second myth about missions, is that you feel unqualified because of your age for missions. And so I did quite a lot, but all of us are called to missions, and all of us are qualified for missions because we all are a living testimony of God's love and his word. And so in 1 John 4:7, sorry guys, bear with me on this one, I accidentally Bible doodled over it, and so I can't really read all of it, but it says, "Dear friends, let us love one another because love is from God, and everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God." So God calls us to love, and that's what we need to do, is love people. The famous Casey Page quote, "Love more people more." And that's what we need to do in school, on mission trips, anywhere. By you loving people, you're planting seeds of God's love. God's love will show through you into that person. They'll be like, dang, I want the kind of love that she's got. When we have a relationship with Christ, his love continuously flows through us. And it also becomes a lot easier to respond with love in situations when you do have a relationship with Christ. Because I know sometimes it's hard when your sister takes your leftovers or she steals your clothes or something. It's really hard not to get aggravated at her. But if you still if you share love with her, because God flows through you, it's a lot easier. God uses our imperfections for his glory too. So whereas I may have messed up on something, somebody else can be like, oh, I messed up on that too, and y'all can bond and, get to really know each other and be able to share with them about God, and it would just build a relationship. Often too, while we're there, we're kind of changing subjects, but we'd go on home visits into youth club and kids club every week. And when we'd go, we'd have to share like a Bible verse or a story or something like that, as I said. And Miss Courtney normally did all of the talking, but sometimes we would have to. And that was really nerve-wracking for me because I never felt qualified enough to share the gospel. I always felt like I wasn't worthy enough to. And that's something I really had struggled with in the beginning of my trip. And I kind of talked to Janie about it too. Janie's 21, and she hasn't finished college yet because she really felt a call to missions, and she hasn't gone to seminary or anything. And she also said that she felt unqualified every single day to be a missionary. And I'm sure Bradley probably feels unqualified to be leading a youth group, even though he is. And it's a normal feeling to feel unqualified. And I'm sure you probably have before if you've tried to share with a kid at Infuge or at Love Out Loud or somewhere like that, or even at school. But my final myth is that you aren't qualified enough to share the gospel, because everyone is. Plot twist. The Bible calls everyone to share the gospel. So in my final verse of the night, Mark 16:15, it says, then he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to the whole creation. So, as you can see in that verse, God calls us to go and share the gospel, just as he does in the Great Commission. It took me forever to realize that I may not feel qualified to, but I'm called to. And we're supposed to love people and pour God's love into them. Once again, whenever we feel unqualified or unusable, God will use our imperfections for his glory. God can use you in any way you can imagine, whether you're the shyest introvert or the most outgoing extrovert. He can use you. He can use you to minister to somebody. If God can use me in a foreign country that speaks Spanglish, he can use you here, I promise. So, kind of going back to like the not feeling qualified enough, when it finally hit me that I was qualified, I got to share with a lady at a house, and she actually wasn't a Christian. And so she had never actually heard the name of God or Jesus or anything like that. So we got to share John 3:16 with her and really tell her about God's love and all. And that was a really cool experience too, is because that was when I finally felt qualified to, even though it's just a simple verse that probably all of us have memorized by now. And yeah, because of that, one more person was shown the love of Jesus through my words and my actions and through the translator's words and actions. And our job as a Christian is once again to plant seeds. And if we do that faithfully, we will see the results of that in heaven. And any single one of y'all can plant a seed. So I challenge y'all to go and share the love of God and to really bring his word to people. So yeah, that's all I have. Recap, I spent 6 weeks in the Dominican Republic this summer, and it changed my life tremendously. And if y'all ever get the chance, do it. So yeah, so I'll turn this back. Oh, pictures? Yes. Okay, so y'all heard me talk about a lot of people, so I'm just going to show some pictures of some so y'all know who I'm talking about, kind of put a name to the face. So, okay. So the guy in the red shirt is Javier, and then the lady that's hugging the little boy, that's Miss Courtney, and her son Jude, and then Caroline. And then Jay's got the beard. Joey's in the back with the really long hair. That's Janie with Junior on her shoulders. Nico in the Trump hat, and then Heather and Dakota. And Heather and Dakota are also planning on moving down there. So that was our 4th of July picture. This was the first day we got there, and this was just a really cute selfie. Sadie passed us all out suckers, and Jeffrey wanted to take a picture like we were blowing kisses, so... here's everybody once again, and all for the first few weeks, my bad. Heather, Dakota, Janie, and me were all living together, and then Kaylee and Taylor came along later, so. And then there's Nico. That's me sharing a Bible story. We were doing the fruits of the Spirit in children's church, and so that was me sharing one of the fruits of the Spirit with the kids, and Caroline was translating. That's Pamela sitting under the table, and then Junior too. They were just so cute. So, and then here's some of the kids that were always attached to me at youth club. They were all precious, or kids club. My bad, guys. So yes, and then that's Griselda. That's Pamela's mama. And then here's another kid. He was precious. Every time he saw me, he ran up and hugged me, and always wanted to take a selfie on my phone. So. And then this is the girl I was talking to y'all about, how she spoke a little bit of English. And yeah, she moved from Punta Cana, or however you say it. And so, so she had just gotten there whenever that picture was taken. And then this is at one of our baseball camps. The first one we did with the Dozen Pearls, a team from Georgia. So, and then there's Kaylee, Taylor, Junior, Griselda, and me. That was the night before we left. And then here's the team from Love Now that came and everybody that served. And yeah, that was right before we left too. Oh, and that's Fabiola. She was telling me not to cry because it was my last night of kids club, and she told me not to cry, that I would see her again soon. And she was like wiping my tears off with my face. She was so sweet. And then there's also some more girls. Pamela didn't like taking pictures a whole lot, so she was hiding her face. And then there's me and Javier on his bike. And then there's us again for our last night of kids club. So yeah, that was my trip.
All right. Well, Emma did a great job. I think we all got to see a little bit about her trip and what missions looks like. And I just want to remind y'all, this isn't just what we do in the Dominican Republic or anywhere we go on missions. This is stuff we should follow here in our schools, in our works, in our homes. These are things that we should live in our daily lives, not just when we're on missions. So I pray that y'all take these things and you'll bring them into your schools as y'all all just started back. So we're going to have an invitation now. And if you just want to come and pray, and you want to pray about how you can lead in your school and how you feel like God is telling you you can lead in your school, we'd love to help you do that. So